Ready? You can see one screen, right? Okay. Om. 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Mavit Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitam Ritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvam Anusantadhami Bhagavad Gita Bhavatveshini Namostu Te Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pulla Ravindayata Patra Nedra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajwalito Jnanamayah Pradipah Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetraika Panaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Geetam Rudatuhe Namaha Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tva Sarva Papebhyah Mokshayishyami Ma Shuchaha. So again, welcome everyone. After quite some time, we are looking at the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where we see Lord Krishna describing all his vibhutis, the Ishvara vibhutis, or what we call as the glories of Ishvara. So, he brings us home to the point that the entire creation is nothing but the manifestation of that God or the Lord. And this whole creation is nothing but his own glories. So just like, how when we go to see our child's sports event or something where he's playing to his best and exhibiting his prowess, we are so much riveted on our own child's playing and everything, and we're completely immersed in it. So to hear what we see is Lord Krishna is really showing through, he's bringing our attention on the fact that, well, if you're not able to focus on me, the infinite self, then at least I can show you in my bestest of myself. So that is why he chooses the most prominent things and the beings in the creation, and he just claims, what, that is all my glory. It's all just me alone. Now, why would we want to say this? Because this is to take the focus from me, myself. In this day and age, we're getting more and more into this aham bhava. Me, myself, that's all that matters sometimes. Everything is connected to that, right? So to take the focus away from me and focus on the beauty that is in front of me. And I think you're all probably seeing a lot of that now with all these fall colors, right? You really see the beauty of there. So that is why, Lord Krishna is taking us through that kind of a journey where he wants us to focus on the most beautiful things that is there in front of me. And of course, Krishna was talking at a time when, India was so pure in its own pristine glory. So he actually looks at the great, and India, of course, has enough of the greatness which was there at that time, and now we are trying to get all our kids to focus on that greatness. Of course, starting with the Himalayas, and today I think we will touch upon the Ganges. Why is Ganges a special river for us? And so, in all this, he's trying to bring our focus again back to something which is most beautiful, which is outside us. In a sense, take us away from this phone text. Our screen time. Most of our time is focused only on this small screen. He's trying to get us out of that small screen into the real large screen, the three-dimensional screen which is there in front of us. So that's the whole beauty of what the 10th chapter is all about. It's almost like, after a lecture like this, when you get up in the morning tomorrow, see what are the 10 most beautiful things in front of you that you can actually write it down. So something like that, he's trying to get us to focus. So again, the reflection time for us is that essentially, which is, taking the time to focus away from myself and focus. It could be something, even a simple thing as, the smile of a child. Or why focus on a child? The smile of my friend. The smile, we focus probably more on, I mean, of course, nowadays we don't do that. When we were younger, we were looking at, okay, somebody's wearing something beautiful. Maybe I have to look at some color like that. But nowadays, our focus is more on bigger things, what we can buy for our children, for our grandchildren, all that. So anytime when I think about it, let me take the focus, take the I-ness out and the minus out. It's my child, my this. This is a child of the universe. This is a child, this friend has come into my life. So, like that, slowly and slowly, from something which is smaller to much bigger, you know. So, that's the idea behind this 10th chapter. So, from the 20th shloka onwards, he starts to speak on this vibhuti. I'm just going to spend about few minutes just to recap the vibhutis that we have talked about. So, in 20th shloka, Ahamatma Gura Kesha Sarvabhuta Chayastitaha Aham Adishcha Madhyam Cha Bhutanam Anta Evacha. So, here he's talking about his highest self. In this highest self, it is very hard for us to really focus. But in a sense, he's trying to say, it is me and me alone, which was there before. I'm there in the middle, I'm there in the end, everywhere. This is all I am. And where am I? I'm actually seated in your own self. You don't have to go too far away. You know, you don't even have to go to the temple. But the reason we go to the temple is because during, at least for that short period of time, I can focus on the Lord. So, but here he's trying to say I'm not too far away, and this is again the highest of shlokas, the most profound, and even if I can bring this in my meditation and just chant this one, I can see slowly how that Lord is everywhere, and that Lord is there in me alone. So that's what the shloka is. And then he starts to explain about the greatness of the bestest of things. So starting with, of course, the sun and the moon and the stars. So Adityanam Vishnu Jyotisham Ravi Amshuman Mariche Marutam Asmi Nakshatranam Aham Shashi. Shashi is the moon and Aditya is the sun. So starting from sun to moon and everything in between, the planets, everything that emanates light is what he's in the shlokam. And then Vedanam Sama Vedosmi, Devanam Asmi Vasvaha, Indriyanam Manashchasmi, Bhutanam Asmi Chetana. So again, he's trying to explain, of course, how can we know about all this? It's only through some literature. And here the literature he's bringing is the highest form, which is the Vedas. And among the four Vedas, he's again talking about Samaveda. And then among the gods, he's talking about, how Indra And Indra is, of course, the lord of the senses. Here, Vasavaha refers to Indra. Among the senses, I'm the mind. So, what drives all the senses? It's the mind. And even what powers the mind. The mind is not the mind without something powering it. And that is where he's saying that I am the, of course, here, Bhutana Masmi Chetana, we made some clarifications. Here he's talking about the highest form, which is the intellect. Bhutanam Asmi Chetana. So I'm the life principle there. And then Rudranam Shankarashasmi Vitteshu Yaksha Rakshasam Vasunam Pavaka Asmi Meruhu Shikarinam Maham. So among the Rudras and Shankara, we talked about the various Rudras, then the 11 Rudras, then among the Yakshas and Rakshasa and Kubera. So when we talk about beings, it's not just the divine beings, but we also consider among the yakshas and the rakshasas in that. Again, the analogy, if you remember, we talked about how Kubera is a lot of wealth, and who really wants wealth? It's not the devas. Devas don't need wealth, but it is people like all of us. So not that we are being compared directly to yakshasas and rakshasas, but just trying to show the evolution that is required for us to move forward. So that is what he's saying. And then among the Vasus, I'm Pavakaha. And then among the mountains, among the great mountains, I'm the Meru mountain. So that we talked. And then among the teachers, so there are two kinds of teachers, one who takes care of the rituals. So here, among the household priests, I am their chief. So Brihaspati, he talks about Brihaspati is the teacher of teachers. And then among the generals, again, because Arjuna was a general, those days, I guess they didn't have any CTOs, IT, but they had more of CEOs and CFOs and everyone. CFO is Kubera here. But then here we have the army generals. So among army generals, he says, I'm Skanda. And then Sarasam Asmi Sagraha. Then among the bodies of water, whether it's the rivers or the rivulets on everyone, the biggest body, of course, is the ocean. So that's what he's talking about. And then Maharshinam Brigu Aham. So here, the seven Saptarishis, is what he's talking about. And Giram Asmi Ekam Aksharam. So among the words itself, Om is the most important word. It's in Om. If all the words are encompassed, all the sentences, everything is in this Om. And so he says in that, even among words, I'm that Om. And then Yajnanam Japa Yajna Asmi Stavaranam Himalayaha. So just a little bit on this word japa, I want to say, I don't know how many of you have seen this show called Sheldon. Sheldon, is it? Yeah, Sheldon on Netflix. It is there. You have this Big Bang Theory, right? Big Bang Theory.
The young Sheldon.
The young Sheldon. Yeah, the young Sheldon. Okay. If you see the fifth fifth season, the last season, it's just released actually. In the fifth season, the ninth skanda, skanda means a chapter, but what I mean is the ninth episode, around 15th minute or something, young Sheldon is telling his brother, it was so funny. He says, oh, the Eastern masters have talked about the best way of focusing, and that is called japa yoga. And Swami Vivekananda talks about how this is the best form of concentration, you know. So it
What
was so.
show is that? What show is
This
that?
is the young Sheldon. Like the Big Bang Theory.
Uh-huh.
The Big Bang Theory. I don't know if you've. That
Yeah,
was one of the.
yes. Mm-hmm.
So the prelude to the Big Bang Theory. Before that, I think in Big Bang Theory also the character's name is Sheldon. Correct. So that Sheldon
Okay.
is the older Sheldon. He's a young adult. But this young Sheldon is a schoolboy and he's a genius.
Mm,
Very, very nice show, actually.
okay.
So the fifth season is just out, and I was watching that, and I was surprised that he says that um, I know Japa Yoga is thing is
Maybe
so.
the writer may be an Indian.
No, not really. I think it is people like to insert a little bit of this because they feel this is exotic, exotic stuff. They can, of course, pick it up from anywhere they want, French or,
Mm.
in fact, in one other episode, he has French and Russian and Chinese words and stuff like that. But I was very surprised. So here I am preparing for this lectures and all this, and then I see the word. But the word, so the point about it is how he had captured, he says among the Indian masters, the fact that he picked on Japa Yoga, So actually, I shouldn't be quoting from something which has come later. Typically, you quote on something which has come previous, which can give authenticity to something. But here, our scripture is the Adi, Adi literature. Adi meaning which was the foremost literature, right? So it gets quoted much later by the things. So maybe this is something which our youngsters would be happy to note. I don't need to convince you all about the Bhagavad Gita and everything, but the point is, Japa Yoga was quoted there. So, Yajnanam Japa Yajna Asmi. So, I'm the sacrifice, among sacrifices, Japa Yoga is the best of thing. And of course, people will want to know why. Why is japa? So does that mean I don't have to do my puja or I don't have to do any other type of rituals? Not true. I think all of them has its own place. But the point here is even if you're sick, where you say that I can't go to the temple, I can't take my bath, because all the other rituals, there are certain niyamas you have to follow. But for japa yoga, there is no niyama. And Japa Yoga is not like our Gita Parayanam, Like if I say that, yeah, today is Gita Jayanti, I'm going to do 700 verses, that is a Parayanam. But this one is Japa. Japa means taking only one mantra, Ishta Devata mantra. Whatever Devata that I like, or sometimes you may have different devatas for different or different gods for different days, but there'll be one god who I think we always go to. And so Om Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, or Om Namah Shivaya, or Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. The point is the repetition of this mantra. Most powerful. There is it is not something which is repetitive or it doesn't make sense. No, I think there is a huge science behind this japa yoga. The point is we all are a creature of habit. Let's face it. Whatever I do today, I don't even have to think sometimes. I just automatically do it. And this is exactly why our latest technologies, marketing, sales, all these people have caught on this. Why are there so many companies today selling information? Literally, like Amazon's and all of them, they hire other companies to sell them information, and this information is packaged and is sold. And what is the information? It is all our habits. You know, the the amount of times we are on the internet, this information is kept. There's somebody watching us, somebody who's looking at how we are collecting information. So this people know our habits. Then they target us, and they know that these habits tend to dull our mind and weaken our mind. And at that time, they catch us, and we are caught in the snare of this business of buying and selling and all that. So, what is Japa Yoga? Japa Yoga is basically repetition, but repetition in a good way. We are trying to superimpose anything which is there in our mind with a good divine mantra which creates vibrations within us. The vibrations created by chanting these mantras are in line with what is there in the universe, and therefore, and that is why it is a science. Anything I think I become, that is the mantra, So that is why this Japa Yoga is so very important. And then Stavaranam Himalaya. Himalaya is the abode of Parvati, Himavan Putri, right? That's who she is. So the best of all this is the Himalayas. And so this is the idea behind it. And then in 26, we talked about among all the trees. Now we're coming to, all the lower type of beings, of course. I mean, there is, of course, in this case, it's not as if it's very organized way it has been set up. You can see people tree. This is the Ashwatha tree. I don't know if we have this Ashwatha tree in US. Do we? I don't know. I don't think so. We have huge trees, of course, in California, but not broad as people tree. Yeah,
Do they
Geeta?
have Ashwatha tree in India? Because I thought it was imaginary tree, I thought. Huh?
No, 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 no. Ashwatha people tree you find in many of the temples.
Oh, really?
Especially if
Oh.
you go to South Indian temples, like even this Mangayamanna, Mangayar,
Mangadan.
Mangada, Mangada temple. I think Mangada temple, you see all those things where people hang on the trees and all that. No, that's a people tree.
It's not
Yeah.
Alamaram, right?
Alamaram. I don't know what Alamaram is. Maybe Jayashri, with Tamil speaking people will know. Of course, Geeta, you should
I
know.
think Alamaram is banyan tree, right?
Banyan tree.
Oh,
Alamaram is banyan tree.
Banyan.
Banyan. Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
what is this people tree?
People tree is there all over. Even that's where Gautama Buddha got his
Yeah.
enlightenment.
What is it called in Tamil?
In Tamil, I don't know.
Ashwatha tree is what it says in Sanskrit.
No, but Gita
Bodhi.
is right, because that Urdhva Moolam Adhashakam Ashwatham Prahuravjayam, that one, that's that inverted tree, that's like an imaginary tree. That's what we say in the 15th chapter, right? That's what she's trying to ask, I think.
Right. But there it is the inverted tree which is imaginary. And also there the tree is representative of samsara, But
And
the
they
roots
call it
are about-
Ashwatha. They call it Ashwatha.
Yes. Yes, they do call Ashwatha tree.
That's
Absolutely.
why I got confused. Okay.
Correct. And there it's an inverted tree with the roots above and the, branches down, which each of the branches represents samsara. Yeah.
Maybe Bodhi Maram. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what Usha was referring to. The Bodhi tree is an Ashwatha tree.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And then among the divine rishis here we have Narada. And Narada is the rishi who went around, who was a favorite with almost everyone, and who was responsible for really transmitting Vedanta. Wherever he went, he's the one who transmitted the knowledge. And then among Gandharvas are the people who are very good in art, and their Chitraratha is supposed to be the best of all the artists. And then among Siddhas and Kapila Muni, and here the Siddhas are referring to the special powers, and the special powers which one can attain through our own, what should I say, our own penance or our own tapas and everything. And here Kapila Muni is referred to as the best of the Siddhas, best of the realized persons. So in this,
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Amma.
Bodhi tree is banyan tree. Why
Oh,
it got the name Bodhi? Buddha was enlightened under the banyan tree. Bodhi means enlightenment.
right. So
So
that is not a people tree then. That's a banyan.
banyan tree.
Okay.
Sorry for interrupting, but
No. Good. I'm glad, Amma. Thank you for that clarification. Now, I think I just want to check what is the difference between a banyan and people tree.
Did you Google it, Amma?
banyan tree is taken for a long life, no? It's there for so many years, and the roots are coming and falling. It's steady and firm. So usually they sort of say when people get married, they say you must be like a banyan tree, or Arugampullu is the grass. that spreads.
Uh-huh.
That's how, yeah, long
Oh,
life.
long life. Okay.
Banyan tree is like the trunk, keeps expanding because it has the aerial roots. Like the one we
Yes.
have in Adyar, the TS Society, Sunitha.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the banyan tree.
Okay. Okay. But even people tree is very broad at the base.
It is, but it's not like the banyan. It doesn't have that aerial roots, I think. People tree, the
Oh,
leaf itself is very nice and very pretty looking and all that. Yeah.
okay.
Mm.
I'll have to check it out now. Go to Kalakshetra and or Adyar.
Kalakshetra has, yes.
Yes. Yeah. So, just so we have, out of the 71 glories, this kind of a nice table, I thought, which I thought we'll put it up. Um, so this is the shlokas of 20 through 25 we saw. And then last 3 weeks ago, we talked about also these um, other glories. This is apart from, Chitraratha and Kapila here, this Uchchai Shravas. All these are essentially Uchchai Shravas, the story of the Milky Ocean. I think we all know that, how the ocean was churned by Vasuki, the rope, the snake which acted as a rope. And the things that came out in the beginning, it was basically the churning by the devas and the asuras. And initially there were a lot of gems and everything that came out, but after that you had all these Gajendra, Airavata and Uchchai Shravas. All this came out of the things, so that is what he's trying to show. And then among the men, that is what the shloka 27, 28. I hope I have that shloka here. But I have the men. So to show that among the men, the king is considered to be the greatest here, only because of the power. Not. I know one may argue that isn't the learned people the greatest people here, but here again he's trying to bring that even the kings represent the glory. And then the Vajra, this is Dadichi was the rishi whose bones were used to make the instrument, to make the instruments of war, and that's what the Vajra. And then Kamaduk, this is the wish fulfilling cow, and among this is the love which brings together men and women. And then the Vasuki is among the poisonous snakes, one which is in water, one which is outside water. So up to here, we finished last time. So I just wanted to summarize that whole glories so far, what we have seen, just to bring us on the page and to. So the idea behind this is to recognize that Ishvara is in everything. So nobody can, I mean, if somebody says he's an atheist and then he says, oh, this, it's so beautiful. Look at this ocean. Look at this, beauty everywhere. That person is automatically a believer in beauty. And if you believe in beauty and this, you're automatically, a believer of God, So this whole concept of God itself need to change. And I think this is where Bhagavad Gita is so beautiful because it takes the, what should I say, the sense of what we call, not that passive prayer to God. This is an active involvement with everything, with our ecosystem, with the universe, and showing that beauty is everywhere. That is what really philosophy and spirituality is all about. So, yeah, these are the shlokas which we did already. I'll just move forward here. Harshinam Briguraham, we did this. And then Ashwatha, we did this. Yeah, and then, yeah, this is the last one where we finished. Then, so starting with 29, of course, we'll do up to 32 at least today. Anantaschasmi naganam, Anantaschasmi naganam, Varuno yada samaham, Varuno yada samaham, Pitrunamaryamaschasmi, Pitrunamaryamaschasmi, Yamasayamatamaham, Yamasayata Yamasayamatamaham. So here, we did Vasuki in the previous one. So he starts off with Ananta Shayana, the snake on whom we have Lord Vishnu who resides. So here, that Ananta Shayana snake is also known as Adisesha. So Adisesha is actually depicted with about 1,000 heads, and each head of that Adisesha Anantashayana snake, sings the glory of Lord Vishnu, and so singing the glory, and they all recite in this Adisesha's coils. So his name comes from the Sanskrit root, which sis, meaning that which remains, because Adisesha remains unaffected after the dissolution of the universe. Also, he's unaffected. So that is why Ananta cha asmi naganam. So among all the nagas, I am that Adisesha. Then I am Varuna among the water deities. So here, Varuna, Yada means basically the world of marine dwelling beings. So anything which lives in water, so among these, so Krishna says Ishvara is Lord Vishnu, Lord Varuna, who is the king of the ocean. So this is why, this aspect of Ishvara is also explained in Sandhyavandanam. So symbolically, Yadas refers to actually any divinity which is there in any inert object. So recognizing even this divinity, we worship, like for example, even the tulsi leaf, trees, etc., even though we think it is inert, So I am Varuna among the water deities. Again, Varuna referring to the god Varuna among the water, and among the water itself, we know that ocean is the biggest body here. So among all the marine beings, I am that Varuna. Then Pitraloka. So Pitranam Aryama cha asmi. Among the Pitras, I am Aryama. So what is Pitraloka? Pitraloka is actually the realm, the area for our ancestor gods. So there are 7 primary ancestor gods, Kavayaha, Anala, Soma, Yama, Aryama, Agnivasta, and Barhisat. And among this, Krishna says that Ishvara is this Aryaman, or the chief of that gods, And then he says, I am Yama among among all the controllers, Lord Yama. So we know about Lord Yama, Kathopanishad, we are familiar with how, he is the one who's controlling really our time of death. So in that also he says, I am the Yama among all these gods. Okay, so just taking a little more detail about here, so Nagaha means, of course, snake. And so how do we differentiate between what is a Sarpa and what is a Naga? Both actually means snake only, but then one of them is, Naga refers to non-poisonous snakes, whereas Sarpa is a poisonous snakes here. So that is why, he says, I am among the non-poisonous snakes, I am the Ananta snake, or the Ananta Shayana, And Aham Varunaha Yadaha, which again, as I explained already, this is, I'm Varuna Devata who presides over the ocean, because that is the biggest reservoir of water. So I'm that Varuna Devata, and I'm not really any ordinary Devata, I'm that Varunaha. So there are so many different actually Varuna mantras which are chanted during um, uh, the Sandhya Vandanam time and everything. So that is what he's saying here. So among Pitranam, Aryama Acha Asmi Yamaha. So among the Pitrana, I'm Aryama. So this like just like we have the Adityas and the Rudras, there are also many Pitras. And among this, we have Yama is the biggest thing. So Yamaha, Samayamatama, among those who restrain. And when we say controllers, these people are the ones who actually establish a kind of a law and order. So they control, they punish, and they exert law and order. So in all this, Yama is the punishing principle which maintains law and order. So I'm Yamaha, that controller. So anyone I can control, and therefore Samyatam among the controllers, I'm Yamaha. So in all this, the focus is not on Yama, but the focus is on Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna is saying, I am that Ishvara principle who is there even in Yama, you know. So that is shloka number 29. So in 29, we saw four more. We saw the Ananta Shayana. We saw about Varuna. Then we saw among Pitras and among the controllers. So anything and everything that we can think of, Krishna is saying, I'm there, you know. Don't think I'm not in anything. So I guess in some sense here we can, and again, this is just a joke, but you know, when we think of when I'm working, the one who's controlling me or who is in charge of me is my boss, right? So think about that, you know, I'm there in your boss also. So next one is a nice, now we are coming to the Puranas, you know, the Puranas. So there's a little bit of Purana story here coming up. Prahladashchasmi daityanam, Prahladashchasmi daityanam, Kala kalayatamaham, Kala kalayatamaham. मृगाणां च मृगेन्द्रोऽहम् मृगाणां च मृगेन्द्रोऽहम् वैनतेयश्च पक्षिणां वैनतेयश्च पक्षिणां प्रह्लादश्चास्मि दैत्यानां प्रह्लादश्चास्मि दैत्यानां कालः कलयतामहम् कालः कलयतामहम् मृगाणां च मृगेन्द्रोऽहम् मृगाणां च मृगेन्द्रोऽहम् वैनतेयश्च पक्षिणां वैनतेयश्च पक्षिणां. So here now he's coming to the story of Prahlad, you know. So the story of Prahlad, we know, comes in Srimad Bhagavatam. You know, he's the son of Hiranyakashipu. And as Sharda Aunty would say, you know, Prahlad was the first person who started the first Balavihar, you know, because he would actually take all his friends. I mean, even though he was the son of an Asura, he was a great devotee of Lord Narayana, right? So, you know, he was actually so firm in his devotion that Lord Narayana actually appeared, as we all know the story, you know, he came in the form of half lion, half man, Narsimha, to save him from, you know, all the atrocities that his father himself was committing him, right? So that's the story of Prahlad here, he's saying. So among the devotees, I'm that greatest devotee of Prahlad. So that's what he's trying to say here. And then among time, Kalaha kalayatam aham. Kalaha kalayatam aham. So among, if we think about any system of counting, and here again I have to bring the glory of the Indian knowledge, you know, which is, it is in India that we discovered the aspect of zero, you know, zero, which is the most fundamental of any number. So there are so many systems of counting, and even among the system of counting, the most accurate is that of time. And even this was already discovered in India long time ago. So everything and everyone in this universe is actually, even though we may say counting, we think about money and so many other ways, distance and everything, but time is the biggest area where counting is most prevalent, and nobody can really escape this impact, right? So, what Lord Krishna is saying is that, so among all my glories, one of my most foremost expression of counting is time. Okay. So, among that also, that I am the best of the counting methods. And then Mriganam, among all the animals, okay, Mriganam, I am a lion. So among all the animals, lion, of course, is one which comes as the most ferocious. Of course, some may argue that no, tiger is more ferocious than lion or something. But here he says the king of the jungle is actually the lion and not the tiger, right? So among that, he says, lion. So Mriganam cha Mrigendra aham. I am that lion among all the beasts. And then Vainateyaha cha Pakshina. So Vainateya here is referring to Garuda. So among all the birds, Garuda is the considered to be the Garuda or the eagle, who's the smartest. And so that is why he is the vehicle for Lord Vishnu. So he is considered, so that is why Garuda is considered to be the best of birds. So we see here four more glories: Prahlada, then time, lion, and Garuda. So any questions or any thoughts here so far on 30? So again, we spoke about Prahlad. Anything more to add about Prahlad? So Prahlad, even though, I mean, even though he was born in a, Asura family, he was, he rose up to be the best devotee for the Lord. So he actually, so that's what Krishna is saying. And here, the one more thing to keep in mind with this kalaha kalayatam aham. One more thing about time is um, it is only in the realm of time that, we perform every action. So when we say that, time is important or pay attention to your moment, every moment there is a possibility for us. So every karma, every action I do will actually give fruit also at a particular time, right? So what Krishna is saying, I am that kalatvam. I am the kalatvam. I am the one who is responsible for giving you the fruit of what is happening during at any time. So it's only in time that all our actions can fructify. So paying attention to time is very, very important, and therefore he gives an importance and prominence for time as something we have to pay attention to. So time is the only thing which is in our hands. Everything else, can come and go, but how I make use of time is very important. So that's why Lord Krishna is saying that, I'm that intelligent kalatvam, which makes the appropriate karma for an appropriate person to bear fruit at a particular time, So in that sense, time is a very, very important commodity we have, much, much more so than even wealth or anything. So again, yeah, go ahead, Anand.
Yeah. Again, referring to the Praladasya Smidhaichanam, like in the
Pranavas.
out of so many glories, Rudranam, again Sarpanam, and then along the animals and birds, and even asuras, because the name asura itself is they won't like gods. They do all things which do against gods. So
Uh-huh.
even in that community,
Uh-huh.
Bhagavan is referring that I'm Prahlada.
Mm.
So like in and through everything, it includes asuras as well.
Correct.
So it's
Correct. That is
just a
a good point.
message. Yeah, correct.
Very good point. Yes. Even not just beings, but even including asuras, right?
Right.
Including asuras, among all types of beings who are devotees of the Lord Prahlad, this is the most important, right? Yeah. And here, Mriganam cha Mriga Indro Aham. So, Mriganam Indra, I'm the lion among all animals. And which is probably why I think even in the American television, right, the Animal Planet, in that also they always bring lion as the biggest thing. They could have brought giraffe or ostrich or anything. Interestingly enough, I was actually watching something where they showed among the speed of all these birds and animals, ostrich is much faster than even lion, actually. So anyway, so lion is considered to be
Even any movies they call a Lion King.
lion, right? That's true. The Lion King, and even among when people speak, right, in the manner of public speaking, he roared like a lion. So everywhere
Right.
the lion is considered very prominent among animals. And Vainateyascha Pakshinam, that is all the Pakshi. Pakshi means a bird. Bird. Pakshaha means actually wing. And Pakshi means that which has got a wing. So, two wings are necessary for the birds to fly. And according to definition, actually, in Sanskrit, right, they don't really have Sanskrit vocabulary is such that you don't call, like, for example, we don't have words for a car or an SUV or an electric car or anything. So in Sanskrit, the word denotes that which flies. So if we use that word, pakshi, even an aircraft is actually called as a pakshi because it has got the two wings, you know. So he says, among anything that flies, I am that Vainateya. Vainateya referring to Garuda. Garuda is the son of Vinaka, Vinakasuta. Vinakasuta is Garuda. So Vinata is the name of Garuda's mother, and that is why, so we have Pakshi Vahana, Garuda Vahana. And in Vaishnava Sampradaya, Garuda is given a very, very prominent, a prominent position actually, Garuda Alvar. Alvar means a devotee, and so the one who is immersed is, a devotee, the immersed. So Garuda is considered to be the greatest devotee also. And among the birds, he's considered to be the so Garuda is an eagle. So then in Shloka 31, I mean, after talking a little bit now of Puranas, you can see how Lord Krishna is trying to point out. I guess this is probably why in even when we were all growing up, right? We were exposed to comics like the Amar Chitra Katha. In Amar Chitrakatha, every one of those comics would actually focus on something about Puranas, the stories from Bhagavatam and everything. So he's covered now all the, big things like we talked about, all the way from sun, moon, stars, animals, birds, and even among people, everything. I know now if we were to think among all the phones, which is the best phone, that's how we might look at it in today's world. Even there, Ishvara is there. And that is why in that previous shloka, where he's trying to say about people tree or anything, even the leaves, even among inert objects, Ishvara is there, you know. So in Shloka 31, he actually starts the shloka with the topic of purification. And, he will talk about how wind is the foremost, the aspect of wind. Wind is the foremost purifier in the world. And of course, we also know that, this prana shakti, that is why we want to do pranayama more. And especially in India, pranayama is so much more important because really with the pollution and everything, And then he talks about Lord Rama. And then he will talk about the Makara, which is the crocodile. And then he talks about Ganga also, about the importance of Ganga. So let's chant this. Pavanah Pavanah Pavatamasmi Pavanah Pavatamasmi Rama Shastrabhrutamaham Rama Shastrabhrutamaham Jashanam Makaraschasmi Jashanam Makaraschasmi Srotasamasmi Janavi Srotasamasmi Janavi Pavanah Pavatamasmi Pavanah Pavatamasmi Rama Shastrabhrutamaham Rama Shastrabhrutamaham Jashanam Makaraschasmi Jashanam Makaraschasmi Srotasamasmi Janavi. So here, as I said, among the purifiers, at the end of the day, among all the 5 elements, we see, the aspect of the movement of air, which is the wind, is the one which at the end of the day, even like, for example, if I'm cooking something on the stove, it's only this movement of air which can actually purify the atmosphere, right? So Pavanaha, Pavatam Asmi. Among the purifiers, I'm the wind, Pavanaha. And then Ramaha Shastra Bratam Aham. So among all the warriors, I know earlier we talked about Skanda as the foremost among the generals. So here he is referring to among all the warriors, among the greatness of the warriors, he says, I'm Rama. So again, Krishna is an avatar of Ishvara, Rama is another avatar of Ishvara. So among all his avatars, he's trying to point on Rama. Then Jashanam Makaraha Cha Asmi. So among all the fishes, I don't know why he said shark here. I don't know if that's a mistake here. But Makaraha basically means the crocodile. So among all the fishes, I am that crocodile. And then Shrotasam Asmi Janavi. Shrotasam among all the rivers. Again, we talked about the various bodies of water in the past. And here he's talking about the rivers. So among all the rivers, I am that Janavi, or another name for Ganga, Mother Ganga. So that is, so 4 things are covered here: the wind, and then the warrior, Rama, among the fishes, crocodile, and among the rivers, Ganga. So Pavanaha Pavatam Asmi. Pavatam means among all the purifiers. So of course, we know that there are a lot of things that purifies, Ganga water, which we'll come to, etc. But here he's talking about that, at the end of the day, if you look at what is most pervasive, and the aspect of smell is the one which is most pervasive. So how can you remove smell? Obviously, you cannot remove that with water, right? You can only remove it with something which is equally pervasive. So among all the 5 elements, whether it's earth, water, fire, etc., air is the one which is most pervasive. So he says, it's only through this that the wind that removes, continuously purifies things. And this is the reason he says we worship the wind, not only do we worship, of course, the earth, Bhumi and Agni and everything, which earlier also he has covered Agni, but here he is specifically referring to the aspect of wind. So Namaste Vayu, in Shikshavalli, we have the one which we chant during graduation. So Namaste Vayu Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi, that Shikshavalli. So there also, we are talking about that aspect of Vayu. So he says, I am in the form of Vayu. And then Ramaha Shastra Bhratamaham. So among the gods who wield the weapons, Shastra, Sastra, sorry, not Shastra, Sastra. So among the gods who wield the weapons, he says, I am Rama. So, Lord Shiva also has his Parashuhasta, and then he's called Pinakapani, and Rama is called Kodandapani, right? Kodandapani. Vishnu is called Sarangapani. So here he's saying that, Rama is the one among all the people, who holds weapons. I'm that Rama because he's the one who is the protector of Dharma, the biggest aspect that needs to be protected. And therefore, he says he protects Dharma by, totally the best ways, which is a non-violent way of this. So in that sense, he is the greatest of the gods who's holding this one. So I'm Rama. Rama is the thing here. Rama is Kodandapani. So that's the aspect of why Rama is considered. Then Jashanam Makarash Chasmi, among all the water animals, all the animals that are aquatic creatures. And of course, we don't know all of them that is there below the surface of water. There is, we know that oceans, the earth itself is only 1/3. 2/3 of the entire thing is actually nothing but water. And there is probably billions and billions of creatures. But in all this, he says, Makara, I'm Makaraha. And here Makara is, some people actually, of course, and that is probably why it says in that previous one, it is a shark. But some people may say that it's a whale also. And some people say it's a crocodile. So, but we know Makara many times is a crocodile. So, just so the biggest of them, however way we want to take it, Jashana Makarash Jasmi, the biggest is the, that type of animal, or which is either a crocodile or a shark or whale, how we want to look at it. So then Shrotas Shas Asmi Janavi. And here I think we really need to discuss a little more about the aspect of why Ganga is worshipped. And we will, there are really such beautiful stories and reasons why people go all the way to, Rishikesh or Haridwar and where Ganga originates. So we'll spend a little time next week actually talking more about why Ganga is considered as a sacred river and why, taking a bath in Ganga washes away sins, and how the origin of Ganga, how Ganga originated from Lord Shiva's head. So there is quite a few of those. We'll spend about a few minutes next week talking about it. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about it and understand the significance of Ganga itself. Okay. I was hoping that I could cover at least 2 more shlokas, but each one, there's so much of depth in there, which we'll have to go over it a little by little, but we'll cover it. We'll definitely cover starting with the shloka on Ganga next time. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Thank you.
Once again, we can stop.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Everyone, Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you, Sunitha ji.
Welcome. Strong.